be the one who cannot talk. Though your insides fall to pieces, you just sit there wishing you could still make love. They're the ones who hate you when you think you got the world all sussed out. Yeah, they're the ones who spit at you. You'll be the one screaming out.
Good morning, everyone. Please welcome to the stage at this time, Christina Q, convener, South Carolina BWR. Let's put our hands together at this time and receive her as she comes.
I'm taking my freedom, pulling it off the shelf, putting it on my chain, wearing it around my neck. I'm taking my freedom.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. On behalf of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and Black Women's Roundtable, it is my honor to welcome you to day 3 of the 15th Annual Black Women's Roundtable. Woohoo, day 3. And so we are excited to gather in spirit today of sisterhood, strategy, and service. For 15 years, the Black Women's Roundtable has served as a national space where Black women leaders come together, not only to discuss the issues impacting our communities, but to shape solutions. From economic opportunity to health equity, from leadership to civic engagement, this space centers the voices, wisdom, and leadership of Black women across all of our states represented today. In every state here today, we know that when Black women organize, communities transform. We stand on the shoulders of generations of women who believed that progress was not something to wait for. It was something to build. Women who organized in churches, living rooms, classrooms, and community centers. Women who understood that leadership is not about titles, it's about service, courage, and commitment to the collective good. The Black Women's Roundtable continues that legacy by creating a table here today where all of us can collect our expertise, our experiences, and our vision for not just welcomed, but they are essential. So today's gathering is more than a conversation. It is a reminder that Black women are innovators, advocates, decision makers, and architects of change. Our leadership is shaping policies, strengthening communities, and expanding opportunities for the next generations. To every leader, advocate, and partner and sister in this room, thank you for showing up today. Thank you for the work that you do in your communities every single day. And to our national leadership, our partners, and everyone who helped bring this moment together, your commitment ensures that our voices and leadership of Black women remain front and center. As we begin today's program, I invite each and every one of you to lean into the conversations, share your expertise, build new connections, and continue strengthening the powerful network of Black Women's Roundtable with the leadership represented here today. Because when Black women come together with purpose, vision, and determination, there is no limit to what we can do. And so welcome to the 15th Annual Black Women's Roundtable, and thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce my sister, the incredible powerhouse, Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, who is the International President of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated and the Chair of the Council of Presidents of the Divine Nine NPHC.
Thank you so much. Can we give Christina Q a round of applause? We affectionately call her QQ. You want her on your team. If you want somebody to do the work and show up, so I just want to celebrate her. Let's give her one more round of applause. She's always in the background. So my charge this morning is to bless this day, this third day of our 15th Black Women of Power Summit. But I want to start first with just how beautiful it is for us to dwell together. And if you can just look at the sister across from you, just catch her eye. I've already prayed that the calories you just ate are fat-free. And just look into her eye and say, sister, I see you. And I appreciate that God would allow me to be in your presence. Let's start this day with intention So I know there are different faith practices, and we acknowledge that many of us go to the throne room in different ways. But if you would allow me, I'm going to pray to the God of my understanding this morning as we start our day together. Dear Lord, we just come to say thank you. Thank you for waking us up one more time, to breathe your breath in and to exhale out anything that is not of you. We thank you, Lord, not just for the things that you give us, but for being God all by yourself. I thank you that you know each and every woman in this room and the men that support us. You know our frame, you know our heart's desire, you know everything about the purpose you have for us. So we thank you for this opportunity to exercise the gifts, the skills, and the talents that you've placed on the inside of us. We thank you for our visionary, Melanie Campbell. We ask you to bless her, Lord, from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. We ask you to cover her family, dear Lord, because when you allow us the opportunity to lead, our families are a part of the equation. So I ask you to meet the need for her family and every family in this room. You know the public requests and the private prayers that have been prayed. And Lord, your word tells us that you shall supply all our needs according to your riches and glory by Christ Jesus. We know when we say your word, it can never return unto you void. So we thank you this morning with a spirit of praise and worship, because the praise helps the prayers to go through. So we open up our mouths to say thank you. We glorify you. We are not ashamed of the gospel or the assignment on our lives. For such a time as this, we're not confused because we know what the word has told us. So we will be prepared to walk by faith and not by sight. No matter what it looks like, we won't doubt you. And you have placed on the inside of every leader in this room to get the download from you on the actions that we take to protect our communities and to speak truth to power. We don't walk as a wimpy kid. We stand as a proud kingdom kid, knowing whose we are. We're in this world, but not of this world. So as we traverse through what we are seeing in this moment, give us the wisdom on how to continue to lead and cover our communities. Give us the collaboration in our spirit to know no one person can do this alone. And fill us to overflow so that we can serve from that overflow and not an empty cup. We ask you, Lord, to just be with the leaders around this country, standing in different spaces and places to open up opportunities for the next generation. Thank you for our young people who have joined us for this summit. Those beautiful young minds who will stand up to be powerful women of power as they grow, and our young men who are standing and watching. Help us, Lord, as this day commences, that every word we hear is an activation point on the next level of execution in our lives. Anything that is not of you, we cast it out. And we stand in victory knowing that we cannot fail when we trust you. So we glorify you for this day. We thank you for this conference. We thank you for every speaker that will come to this microphone. And let us leave rejuvenated, ready to do the work, get our rest when we need it, but stand purposeful and on assignment to be your foot soldiers and your hand servants here on earth. So all these blessings I ask in the matchless and the mighty name of Jesus. And anything we did not ask, do not fail to grant it unto us. And let others see your light in us, and let the fruit of the Spirit speak for itself, because it's not about us, but what you do through us that will last. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join us at this time in welcoming to the stage our President and CEO of the NCBCP National Convener, Melanie L. Campbell.
know about you, but I needed to wake up. So thank you for that. And we are coming up. They're trying to push us down, but Dr. Stacy let us know we're going up. So good morning, ladies, and a few good gentlemen. And those who are watching online, we welcome you virtually. We are so glad that you are in the room. And for those of y'all in the room, and for those, who was here last night? So y'all saw all those young ladies. They're in their own session right now. And so we're in for some other treats, especially tomorrow. What we did last year at the summit was turn over our lunch for them, as opposed to weaving them in and they come in the last bit. So tomorrow, they'll be making their own presentation and hosting their own panel tomorrow. So for those who will be able to be here tomorrow for lunchtime, you're in for a treat. And it was amazing what they did last year. And always, it's so much more. And for them to talk about the things that are concerning them. So they're from 13 to 18, I think 13 to 17, excuse me. And those who are Black You Vote, some of them are helping to mentor, because this is about intergenerational leadership and being able, you don't have to be with all kinds of degrees and no degrees, and you don't have to be 18 to be a leader, because our movement has always been led by young people. And so from day one with the Black Women's Roundtable, this summit, and those who've been here for the whole, since the beginning, right? Definitely our conveners. And we said, when we decided to do this summit, we were doing it, Barbara, for one time. We're going to do it one time. We're going to bring all of our networks in together, do this one time. And they're like, no, we're going to do this again, right, next year, right? Oh, yeah, I guess so. So what we decided from day one is that all of our conveners of the Black Women's Roundtable, please stand, and our state affiliates, if stand, that are in the room. And so part of what they do is to make sure that their delegation is intergenerational as well. And so in some cases, they also bring girls. And so from day one, for the last 15 years, we have always had girls between 13 and 17 be here and have their own space to do what they need to do, but then come and they'll be here. So what these seats you see, that's the young people. They somewhere else. So they'll be in here with us at lunchtime. So if you can't be here tomorrow, at least come and be able to pour into them during lunch. Is that all right? So now I'll get back to my paper. So this is day 3. We started on, Lord, I'm losing track of days. What is that, y'all? Friday. We started on Wednesday at AFL-CIO with the Global Empowerment Day. So give the Global Empowerment Day team a round of thank you at the AFL-CIO. And then yesterday, we went on Capitol Hill. We struggled through the weather that changed. I felt like I was in, anybody know Denver, Colorado weather? It started out at 65. By middle of the morning, it was 40. By 10 o'clock, maybe it wasn't even that late. It was ice and rain, and then it was snow and all of that. And then by 5 o'clock, it was sunshine and the snow was gone. And we plowed through it. So I want to say, give yourself a hand for that, because it was rough. We tried to figure out how we're going to do this. We were over there with Bishop Vashti over the United Methodist Church. And what was powerful was us walking those halls, because they're not used to us coming and walk. I would say it this way. They used to us being able to come and not quite know what to do. But when they see you walking through the Senate lunch cafeteria, they're like, how they get in here? And we took over. I saw Sheeta sitting up there holding court over there in the middle of the space, and they tried to figure out, because if you walk through the Senate, if you want to talk about where there needs to be some diversity, equity, inclusion, and go to the Senate and go see who's sitting in the lunchroom. It's hard to find us. So us walking through there with staffers having Senator Angela Alsobrooks' office, and having those black women and black men in the U.S. Senate, do not take it for granted that their being there is not important. So, with all that to say, we welcome you again to this third day, and where we will be really thinking about strategy. This is what the day is about, strategy. Strategy, we know that this country is really living in a fascist state. We're living with an authoritarian who is wielding his quote-unquote power. But we start this day and we end this day with the power we know that serves and the power that can smite thee, if you will. Am I saying that? I know I don't have no reverend license. My sister got that. But, you know, she said, you need to read the Bible more, you know. But we know where our power comes from. And we know just even being here, I can't even watch the news. I can't even listen to it because so much is going on. So I'm trying to block it out. So we're going to strategize. We're going to talk about, in this next section, about authoritarianism and how that impacts us and how we have to utilize all of our ability to continue to fight for our rights. But rights are only temporary if you don't have a system that can hold it up. And so we have to combine the conversation that we would normally just talk about voting rights. We talk about, no, the authoritarian state that we find ourselves in requires us to think about how we get ourselves out of this mess and also maintain and strategize. This is a long-term fight. Janae Nelson over here with LDF, you know, fighting the fight in the courts. I'm telling you, y'all, I want y'all to really pay real good attention. And then we're going to do snap polls today because not everybody can be up here because we'll be here till next week. But everybody in here has something to bring to the strategy conversation. So we have our Hope and Justice Fellows from our Institute at Clark Atlanta, led by Janice Mathis. Ebony is working with them to do a snap poll. So when we get through, we're going to do a snap poll for you to tell us what you think we should be doing. Is that all right? So I'm not going to read all this because and I appreciate it. I know Lon does. I'm going to talk to points. He said, you never use them. You never use them. So, but I appreciate it. It just makes me feel like I got something in case I do blank out, right? And I've done that, right? So we're going to move on with our next panel, with our first panel of the morning. And I think I'm going to go sit down and eat my breakfast. Is that all right? So welcome to the Black Women's Roundtable Summit. I'm supposed to be doing something else? Okay. Oh, yes, okay, yes. Oh, Lord. You know who you work for, right? No, they're not next. I got that part, no. We're going Next, we will have greetings from our vice chair of the board that's what I work for, right? The National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, vice chair of the board, Sister Diane Babineau, who's a leader that never stopped working. She retired, but she didn't retire. We're blessed that she still comes to you. Because when you retire, you just can choose. That's what I heard, who you want to be bothered with. So she decided we were okay to be bothered with. And I can call Diane any time of the day. And even if I don't call her, she'll just show up and come bring, hey, I got to bring you a check. But she spent how many years? 53 member in the labor movement, but she spent 45 years at the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, worked her way up from 18 to retiring as the vice president of that union, which is a whole lot of white men. And this black woman was the vice president of that union, Diane Babineau.
Good morning, everyone. And we have heard so many good inspirational words, and one thing about coming up after good leaders, and they know how to spread the word, you don't have to say much. But one thing I must say, who is an activist in this room? Raise your hand. So you know what? Everyone should be raising their hand, because activist means you have a vision. So we want y'all to take in what all is being said at this conference. We want you to network. We want the mentors and the mentees to reach out because they are our next leader. And that's what I did before I left Machinists. And I'm still being respected. So let your work speak for itself, you all. They remembered you, how you come in the door, and we're going to remember you, how you came out the door. So we're going to touch everyone in here. We are leaders, I don't care, down to the people that's washing the bathrooms. And I want to say, and I want to thank, it's not enough to just say it. I want to thank every one of you all for taking the time to come out here. And I want to thank everyone that continue the hard work. I want to thank the staff. Let's thank the staff because regardless of that, they help us and we need to help them. So just say thank you to them and thank you for all of y'all. And remember, we are activists with a vision, and we got a lot of vision out there that we need to do. Thank you.
I created a woman, put life in her hands.
And now it is time for the United We Win Power Table 1 strategy session, protecting our rights, freedom, safety, democracy, and opportunities. And now it's time for our Black Ops Research presentation. Please receive to the stage at this time PD Talley, convener, Ohio Unity Coalition. Also receive at this time Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver, Principal, Nouveau Strategies, Board Member, NCBCP.
Good morning. Y'all doing all right? Great. As he mentioned, I'm Petey Talley. I'm the co-convener of the Black Women's Roundtable in Ohio. Shout out to my OH delegation that's in the room. I am so happy that Melanie Campbell and I'm sitting here at an intersection, right? I'm also a member, I direct the civic engagement activities of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. And so I'm happy that Melanie and Terry of CBTU agreed to help fund the Black Ops program. Because research, y'all, plays, and data, that it plays a major role in understanding and improving voter participation. And now, we own carefully crafted research that will be used to help our partners, our allies, and convener organizations, as well as community, better understand why people, and Black people specifically, take action and vote, or more importantly, why they don't, and what conditions make civic participation easier. This research, y'all, is helping us uncover the practical and social factors that keep people from taking action, including voting. This project is going to help NCBCP and our Unity program and other organizations make the right investment in approaches that are proven to be effective. This research gave me a bird's eye view, listening directly and observing community members, and what we are learning is that when people feel heard and see their concerns reflected in civic engagement efforts, their trust in the democratic process can grow. So I am happy that Dr. Avis Jones DeWeaver, a trailblazer author and leadership strategist whose work continues to shape the future of women, is here to share some of the initial findings from the research. Y'all join me in welcoming Dr. DeWeaver.
Good morning, sisters. So good to see you here today. I just want to say once again, as always, Melanie is a visionary. She is an extraordinary leader who knows what to do in order to be able to better equip us to better serve our communities, and this project is part of that. Excited to share with you some of the key findings from the Black Ops Project. We can advance. All right, so in case you, can we advance to the slides? I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. Oh, I see. All right, great. So in terms of the Black Ops Project, just to give you a little bit of, I don't know if that first slide is there, but just to give you a little bit of background around it, this is a coalition of organizations that have come together to be able to put out multiple surveys over a period of time to be able to gather the Black perspective on how they have been impacted by this administration. And so I'm going to provide for you some key findings from this poll. Now, one of the things I want to point out for you with this particular slide here is the fact that, as you can see, Black women are much more likely than our Black male counterparts to say that we have been personally hurt by this administration. Personally hurt. And particularly those of us who are a little bit more seasoned, shall we say, those of us who are over 50, almost 3/4 said they were personally hurt by this administration, which is, to me, extraordinary. Another thing that I think is very powerful to point out here is the degree to which young men tend to have a very different perspective. As you can see, young men under 50 are saying that not only are they more likely than any other group to say that this administration actually helped them, they're much more likely to say that it's not made any difference for them at all. So that's very interesting to find there, all right? What's interesting too here is that this research has been done 2 times over the past year, in April and again in October. The sample was surveyed, and you can see that the degree to which people felt that they were hurt personally has increased tremendously. Even over that short period of time, the numbers, the percentage of folk who said that they were personally hurt went up 12 points just between April and October of last year. Now, in terms of really digging deep into this data to really subdivide the sample between individuals who feel like they are extremely active in the movement and those who are not, okay, 3 different groups were categorized. One group were categorized as economic justice defenders, people like you, like people in this room who are actively engaged in resistance. And we can describe that in various ways, but they are actively engaged in resisting various actions by this government that we are finding ourselves subjected to at this moment. Another group, about 34%, or about 1/3 of the sample, are categorized as economic justice activatables, all right? So the activatables could be mobilized to resist, but they, at this moment, have not been inspired to be more active in their resistance, or they might have their very own reasons why, and we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper. And then lastly, there are those who are defined as economic justice spectators, about 1/4 of the sample, those who are not willing to resist government actions at all at this time, all right? Now, let's kind of break that up a little bit more. In terms of those who are the economic justice defenders, as you can see, they're more likely to be a little bit older. Over 57%, it looks like here, are over or 50 or more. They are willing to do everything that they can to take collective action to fight back, so they understand the importance of fighting together versus merely doing things individually. They believe that they are under attack, that we are under attack by this administration, and they are willing to do what they need to do to fight back, and they are very highly active in their resistance. Compare that to the 34% who are those activatables. I would argue they're persuadable, right? They have been impacted. They do believe that they, in fact, are under attack. But they are, at this moment, prioritizing things like self-preservation over activation, right? They might believe that becoming active might threaten them in some way, their safety, their security in some way, or maybe they're even prioritizing rest. But they are prioritizing self-prioritization or preservation over political action at this moment. Yet, they are very dissatisfied with the direction of this country. As you can see, about 3/4 of them are saying that they are extremely dissatisfied with the direction of this thing. Here is if you compare all of that. Oh, another thing that's very important here, 90% of them are certain to vote. as compared to the economic justice defenders, 98% of them are certain to vote. But when you look over at the economic justice spectators, only 68% are certain to vote. Okay, they do believe that there are things that they care about that might be under attack, so they are seeing that there might be some challenges there, but the status quo needed to be disrupted. They're willing to burn the house down, it sounds like, when you're saying things like that, right? They do, in fact, prioritize self-preservation, while some tune out politics altogether. They're just not paying attention to it at all. And they reject the urgency for Black people to fight back. They don't see it as an urgent thing to do at all. They may be dissatisfied with the direction of the country, but they have a low perception of a shared fate with Black people. We have some work to do, okay? Let's look at this a little bit further in terms of those various categorizations and how they feel about whether or not they've been personally hurt. The defenders, 82% personally hurt by this administration's actions, and very, very few say that 13% has not made much of a difference in terms of the administration's actions to their life. Activatables, 62%, there you almost 2/3 are saying that they were personally hurt by this administration. We're just 41% comparatively were hurt personally, but it's very interesting to me. 41% is a very high number to me for people who have checked out. Like, they know they have been personally hurt, yet they feel like there's no need to do anything about it. It's just a very interesting dynamic to me. However, the largest percentage here, 47%, believe that this administration's actions have not made much of a difference in their lives. All right, so before you get freaked out by all that's going on in this chart, this is what's happened here. So there are a couple of questions asked about the perceived effectiveness of various different groups as it relates to potentially fighting back or offering some level of resistance. So on the one hand, the sample was asked about what groups do you think they should have done it, should have been effective, versus the actions that have been taken to resist the government actions. Like, are they actually out in the field doing the work? And as you can see here, for each and every institution that they were asked about, or things that could be done, there is a gap between the effectiveness of what that resistant action is, according to the sample, right? And whether or not they've actually taken action in that direction, right? So in terms of voting, yes, it's very effective, but there is a little bit of a gap there, although the smallest gap between the people that see that as effective and the people that have actually taken that action. As you can see, there's also the smaller gaps there. With regards to, being from the best, I can't even see y'all, categories, what is that? I can't see, buying from Black companies, very important, right? So there you can see with that, there is a little bit of a gap there, and encouraging others to vote, a little bit of a gap there, all right? But in each and every space, you are seeing that people are seeing that there are things that they can do. However, there is more that can be done in order to get people to really maximize their potential in each of these areas. So in terms of those who are not fighting back, it's very interesting to find out why they're not fighting back, right? As you can see, the most often cited reasons why people don't fight back is because they believe that there could be some sort of harm either to them personally or to the Black community generally. So they are concerned that it could result in them getting arrested. They're concerned that it could lead to mob violence against Black people, and understanding our history, that's not a far-fetched belief, right? There's also the belief that fighting back does not lead to meaningful change, 24%. So that's a huge, huge number for that particular option there to me. Those are some really, really interesting feedback that we have right there. Also, here we go, in terms of perceptions of leadership. These are different specific institutions that one might expect to fight back, but what we see here are the degree to which people believe that those institutions have, in fact, been effective in fighting back. So, for example, Democrats in Congress, 63% of the respondents, or 83% of the respondents are saying that, 63, I can't see y'all, that yes, we believe that the Democrats in Congress should fight back. They can fight back against the regime per se, but only about 39% are saying that they are doing an adequate job in fighting back. So that's a huge gap, like a 27% gap there. If you even go over to civil rights organizations or groups, right? That's a very surprising gap there to me. 56% of the respondents are saying, yes, these are responsible for fighting back on behalf of the Black community when they are under threat, but only 41% believe that these institutions are fighting back. Now, here is one thing I would say about this. You are doing some amazing work out there. You need to make sure that people know about it, right? You need to make sure that people know. Do a better job of really messaging and letting people know that you're out there. The Black church, 47% believe that they should be fighting back stronger, but only 31% believe that they are actually doing a good job of that. All right. And just to finish this up really quickly, reasons why you might fight back against governmental actions that hurt the Black community. To fight back against racism and injustice, that is the top answer. People want to make sure that they are fighting back against racism. Next, people want to make sure that they are fighting to defend their rights or to defend their families, absolutely. And what's interesting to me, the third selection is they want to fight back to defend American democracy. So there is an investment in democracy here that we're seeing here. And though this particular survey is focusing on economic justice issues, the next round of surveys will be focusing on democracy. So this is going to be delved into more deeply in future samples and in future research actions, all right? And next, I would think it's very interesting to make life better, the world better for the next generation. So we are thinking forward. We're thinking for our children, we're thinking for our grandchildren, we're thinking for our posterity and more. Quickly, definitely take a shot of this slide, okay? This is what you need to do now. As you go back to your communities and you begin to strategize about what you can do to move more people to action, to get more people to actually get in the polls and vote and do all the other things that are necessary in order to resist in this moment. Be aware of those things that you might face as barriers, right? The fear of arrest, the fear of violence, those types of things, the lack of belief that they can impact change. You have to be able to speak to those fears and those uncertainties. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you are messaging in ways in which people are more likely to receive it and act on what they're hearing. So you want to message in ways in which people know, for example, not only that we are facing economic challenges in this country, generally speaking, be able to specifically point to how it is impacting their family, how it's impacting the Black community. Personalize those challenges as much as you can to the Black experience. Think about how to really motivate these individuals. Make them think about what they are actually fighting for, sort of frame it in that direction. And finally, make sure that you are really amplifying what you're doing. If you can join with others in terms of paid ads, you can do that, but you can also amplify what you're doing organically. Just making sure that your message is heard and amplified to the community as much as it can, not only to maximize its impact, but also to let people know that you are fighting for them too, all right? So with that said, I want to say thank you for your attention today, and we appreciate you, appreciate your support.
Melanie, we just again want to thank you for the investment made. We have this is Black research. Usually Black people are oversampled in the general population, but Melanie had the vision to invest in research that is about us. And this research will really help us and our partners to advance. And we will share it with our partners and our allies so we can get on the same page and know what we need to do in order to make sure that our community is showing up, pushing back, and getting to the power of the ballot. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Walk right up to my side.
Now it is time for our United We Win Power Table 1 strategy session, protecting our rights, freedom, safety, democracy, and opportunities, now and for the future generations. Please welcome to the stage at this time our moderator, Reese Colbert, the host of the Reese Colbert Show. And also joining us is our panelist for today, Janai Nelson, Esquire, President and Direct Counsel for the NAACP LDF. Please also welcome P.D. Talley, convener of Ohio Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Ohio Unity Coalition. Please welcome also to the stage Deborah Scott, CEO, Georgia Stand Up. Reverend Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner, co-founder and president of Skinner Leadership Institute, co-chair and National African American Clergy Network. Let's put our hands together and receive them at this time.
I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, this ain't gonna be a lecture, honey, so just go ahead, hoot, holler all you want to if you hear something that you like. We just heard some amazing information that I think will help our discussion so much. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, I got some questions. I'm in formation. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we find ourselves in a profound paradox, celebrating a document of freedom while witnessing a systemic slide towards authoritarianism. For Black women, the gap between America's promise and its practice has always been a familiar battleground. So I'm gonna go with all of y'all the experts. How do we navigate this milestone year while our rights are being attacked and use it as a call to action to unite our country?
You start with me?
I'm starting with you.
All right. Well, let me say good morning. It is beautiful to see everyone. I don't always wear my glasses, but I had to put them on because I looked at this room and I said, I need to see every beautiful Black face in here. So you all look amazing. And I also have to say, I love seeing Reese online. I don't know if you all follow her on the social channels, but she is incredible. She breaks down all kinds of complicated issues and just makes it real. So I am a huge fan. Delighted to be in conversation.
I'm gonna behave today.
No, I love it when you don't behave. So that's what I'm looking for. We're gonna misbehave today. So the question of what we need to do in these next 250, that's something that at the Legal Defense Fund we have spent a lot of time thinking about, and we've worked with so many wonderful partners. It's an honor to be on the panel with my co-panelists here. And that's really been our focus. What are we going to do to create conditions where we can determine what the next 250 look like? We know what the last 250 have looked like for our people, and it hasn't been great. And somehow we have still managed to change this country, to use particularly a tool that we use at the Legal Defense Fund, the power of law, to transform this country, even though the laws were not meant to liberate us, they were meant to oppress us. And somehow we had the wherewithal to change that. And so we need to continue to do that for the next 250. But what I want to reject is this idea that we need to save our democracy, that we need to resurrect what was, because it never served us. We were never satisfied with what was. And so we need to be thinking about what is it we really want, because at a time when things are being broken down, things are unstable, when the edifices of our democracy are in rubble, we have an opportunity to build it back brick by brick, and we need to know what that looks like. So to me, that looks like everyone has dignity that is absolutely unassailable. It means that you cannot get scooped up off the sidewalks because of how you look. It means that you can't be over incarcerated because you come from a particular background. It means your zip code does not determine your outcomes and your future. There are some basic things and freedoms that we need to say are non-negotiable in our democracy. And so we have been thinking a lot about how we make sure those rights are anchored in either state legislation or federal legislation, but it all begins with the vote. It all begins with us voting for people who we can hold accountable and who will create the laws, create the systems and the policies that serve Black people. Because when Black people win, we all win. You cannot point me to a moment where we've succeeded and other people haven't benefited as much as we have, if not more. So that's the future I'm looking toward.
Right, right. Dr. Skinner?
Yes, good morning, my sisters. Good morning. And thank you, Stacy, for starting us off right, because that's where I want to start. I think that what we have right now are two different perspectives about what it means to even be an American and what is possible in America. We have a spiritual perspective, which my sister referred to, and that is we're all created in the image of God. We have inherent dignity and rights and purpose. We are made in that image that says that you are the head and not the tail. You're above and not beneath. That's who we are. That you're made, you're wonderfully and fearfully made, that you are a little lower than the angel. In other words, we have allowed a system to define us, and then we come as a victim and rather than a victor. We have to stay in that. Rosa Parks knew who she was sitting on that bus with no cell phone, that she had an inherent right and dignity to be there. She says, you go in the back, I'm not going. That's the spirit of who we are, and I think we have to focus more on our being than just our doing, because it's out of your being that you do. So you have to say to our people right now, who woke you up this morning was not the Congress or the White House. And so sometimes we look at the news and we can feel, and I understand it, overwhelmed, almost feeling like, oh my God, can we take another hit? You know what? The God we serve says that evil will has a, it's just like you go to the market and it says, this should be thrown out after this date. There's a set date for this mess and a set time. So rather than spending our time reacting, as my sister said so well, let's talk about the kind of people we need to be to get to the kind of freedom we need. In other words, we talk a lot about them, but I'd like us to talk more about how we become victors, how we love one another, how we lift up those who are behind, how we get past, you're educated, I'm not. I'm saying we are an amazing people. We are God's masterpieces. People are afraid that we're going to show up the way God created us. They're not ready for that. But we haven't gotten the memo. And so I think once we understand the power that we have, 400, forget 250, 407 years that we have been on this planet, and guess what? There's this vicious cycle of oppression. If it's not followed by resistance, legal, on the streets, whatever, we'll never get an advancement. Everything we've gotten is through resistance. In some kind of way, I think we have this mistaken notion that we're going to get to a plateau where we can fold our arms. As long as people would dare, including this president, to say that two Harvard-educated president and first lady are less than human, you're always going to be dealing with people who don't see you as fully human. So you've got to, and who right now, if they could, would be having ICE at our door except for the 14th Amendment. The perception and view, that's one perception. If you don't buy into first the spiritual perception that gets you to a multicultural and multiracial society, a democracy where everybody counts, right? But the political perspective is this, and it started out that way. White men with money and power, and then everybody else. And it's still that way. At the signing of the Constitution, only white men with power and land could vote. Not white women, not anybody else. Do you understand that 10% of those who own the wealth today, 10% of the country owns 60% of the wealth, largely white men. But they have cleverly gotten white people who are poor, right, to think that they're better than everybody else. They bought into that lie that we're their problem. So I think what we have to think about right now is how we mobilize our resources. We have far more resources than we are mobilizing. That research was brilliant. We ought to be, that was amazing. You're not going to get that from CNN or anybody else. It says that if we could get another 34% of us voting, we'd own this country.
That's right.
That's what I want to talk about.
Okay, that was the whole sermon. You said it all. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to.
Call me, I came.
That's right. I know that's right. Okay, I'm gonna throw it to Deborah because I have a special question for you, Petey. So Deborah, our call to action.
Yes. So one of the things, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I am so sorry that I'm not there, but I am always there. Black Women's Roundtable is an annual pilgrimage because this is where we get our energy to go back to our states to do what we need to do. So we're together today. But one of the things, and y'all are so right, we are those Black women that were sitting on the roof, right? But when we got off the roof, we went down and cooked dinner for our families. We went and planted gardens. We went and organized our communities. And that's what we will continue to do. As we're looking at where we are in this country, they didn't create this democracy for us. First of all, this was our country first. Let's start there. But second, they didn't create this democracy for us. What we have to do is to create the democracy that we need and what we want. And what we have to do is to start with our local communities, down ballot races, making sure our communities get organized, get registered to vote. And the way you do that, you can't show up and just say, come register to vote. Where are your mutual aid stations? Where are we giving out food? Where are we giving out resources for our community? We have to go there. They have to see us show up when it's not on fire, when people are hungry, when Medicaid is cut off. They need to know our organizations are there, that we are there for them, and we are. So I just want to offer a couple of things. One, we're protecting ourselves first. We have to continue to rest. And when I say rest, that doesn't mean we're not doing anything while we're resting. We're resting and strategizing. We're getting those downloads from God on what we have to do next, right? So that's the kind of rest we're talking about. They're talking about we're not doing anything. They don't need to know what we're doing, right? We need to know, which means we have to organize those circles, our sororities, our fraternities, our churches. Organized power is two things: organized resources and organized people. And so we're talking about organizing churches and unions and our communities, but we're also talking about organizing money. There is money out there in our communities, and our community folks need to support our organizations and the individuals on the ground. Organize, mobilize, mutual aid, local elections, making sure our youth are a part of everything we're doing. I love what Melanie does with this conference because it's always a youth component. We were a youth component. We were organizers together way back when, and we know it's an intergenerational conversation. We have to teach them, because if we look at where our ancestors were, we are their wildest dreams, and they have equipped us to go and run the next mile. They had less than we did, but they did so much more. It is our time. This is time for us to organize. As we organize, we're going to work together. Those concentric circles that don't touch sometimes, I got my thing over here and I got my thing over there. It's time for those circles to come together and for us to support each other. This is the group project. We as Black women will win when we support each other, and it starts right here.
Yes. Okay, y'all hooting and hollering a little bit. I like that. Okay, Petey, I want you to talk about this call to action, but one of your many hats is part of the Ohio Unity Coalition. And I think as Black women, sometimes we feel like there isn't a whole lot of unity from others when it comes to aligning with us.
and our leadership. So can you talk a little bit about maybe how other people are showing up, if they are? If they aren't, how other people can show up for us. And when I mean other people, I mean not Black women.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be a part of this panel. I'm so glad I didn't have to go behind Dr. Skinner. So thank you, Deborah, but your remarks were fire too. So we are in a community, y'all. It ain't just us, right? And I often say that we have to get ourselves together and on the same page, right? Sometimes we show up for each other, sometimes we don't, right? And so once we organize and mobilize and get ourselves together, like Deborah kind of alluded to, then I think we have an opportunity, or we have what we need in order to understand how others outside of us can help us or help the cause, right? People always running up to us trying to save us. We first have to save ourselves, and then we can figure out if there's a role for other people outside of us to help and what that role should be. It should not be the other way around. We have what I have observed is they understand from the oversampling polling that they get about us, right, which is not culturally rooted in anything, that they then think that they have what it takes to mobilize and organize and lead us, right? And it's not that way around, because if we're looking at 250 years from now, all that we know about what has happened in the last 250 years, we should be in the power seat for the next 250 years. It ain't even about, at that point, it becomes multiracial only because we are effective in our own stuff. And we're not quite there yet, when 34% of us are not showing up to vote, or even more than that. So I would say and the other thing I think we have to look at is, how are we investing in the future generation? It is great when we come here and we see these young people that come from the different delegations, but I don't see that kind of young energy on the street back in the local community. We have to make sure that we are creating enough space for our young people to be a part. They are the future. I'm not going to be here 250 years from now. Right. They will be here 250 years from now, but they have missed out on a lot of history because there's been a gap in the learning, a gap in how people and young people are showing up. In Ohio, one of the things that we're launching, we are launching a rebuilding of our base with a cohort of people who are 18 to 35. That's how I'm going to spend my time, right? I'm trying to bring these young people around so that they know how to use the data that we just commissioned, and that they know what they need to do in order to take us into the next 250 years.
Yes, that's good. Very necessary. I think that there's a feeling that our community is under assault, but there's also a feeling that that's how it's always been. So it's kind of like, what else is new? And that might be part of those spectators, and even people who are afraid, that could be activated. So my question is, what does it mean for us to redefine safety for our communities? And what is the one non-negotiable action we, the people, must take today to ensure the next 250 years look nothing like the last? Start with you, lawyer extraordinaire, Esquire.
So those are really excellent questions. So I'm going to start with the first. What is non-negotiable? What is the non-negotiable action? Inaction. Right? That's non-negotiable. I think someone said earlier, who's an activist, right? Every one of us must be doing something. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you're doing something right now just by being here, by being associated with the Black Women's Roundtable and the National Coalition for Black Civic Participation. We are already doing something, but we have to spread that energy to everyone around us. If you have not changed your behavior, your actions in some way since November 2024, if you are not doing more for your community in response to this assault, then you are doing it all wrong, right? So the non-negotiable is inaction. Find your lane, find your space, find your power, find your perch, and do something. That can be affiliating with an organization, that could be activating your family and your community, that can be volunteering somewhere, that can be donating, that can be lending your expertise as an artist, as an activist. Whatever it is, we need to be doing something, that is for sure. And in terms of what safety looks like, that is a really complicated question, right? Because we have never been safe in this country. And if we even lull ourselves into thinking that we are safe, then we are putting ourselves in danger, right? This country was not built to keep us safe. So we have to build our own safety, and it starts because many folks get caught up in this idea of, oh my God, there's crime, and so we need more police. Oh my goodness, I feel unsafe in my community, so yes, I know law enforcement is unfair, but it's a necessary compromise. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. We have studied at the Legal Defense Fund. Our Thurgood Marshall Institute has a framework for public safety that does not involve firearm carrying law enforcement members. It involves safety nets for communities. It involves job programs so young people can be engaged and not feeling like they have no particular purpose in life. It involves data-driven outcomes that keep communities safe, not knee-jerk reactions that are punitive, that demonize and criminalize our youth, and that make us suspicious and afraid of each other. Right? We can do better. We can be more creative in how we think about public safety. And so there are ways that it starts in the community. I know, Sister Deborah said that we need to be looking locally. There are so many wonderful programs that are out there where fathers and community members are in the streets with youth, as violence disruptors, as mediators, and are creating safety in ways that don't perpetuate harm, that don't create generations of incarcerated, keeps us all out of the political or who want to act against us without any check on their responsibilities. It's a vicious cycle, and we have to be creative and thoughtful enough to say, we can take care of ourselves, right? I mean, you talked about, what do we do? How do we generate our own energy and self-protection and dignity to ensure that our communities are safe? So our safety is in our hands. Our safety is something we must conceptualize, and we have to not fall for the okie doke of people telling us that we need to be afraid of each other. We take care of each other. And the last thing I will say, just about this voting piece, and I really want to lift Melanie up for giving us that incredible research. That was brilliant, and you for giving us that incredible research, because Black women are a powerful electorate. Let's not have people tell us otherwise. Yes, we need to register more. Yes, we need to come out in greater numbers because we actually can determine outcomes. But there's no group in America that votes more cohesively than Black women. So to say that we are somehow disorganized or not unified, no. 92% tells you something else, right? 78% of Black men tells you something else. It may not be the numbers that got the win that many people wanted, but those are powerful statistics, and we should not underestimate that. And if we think about the next generation, 60% of registered Black voters are under 50. There is a young wave of people coming into the electorate, and we have to continue to cultivate that. And they're not going to buy into a system, again, that criminalizes them and demonizes them. We have to be willing to put out a vision that is welcoming, that is inclusive, and that has their future in mind. So there's a lot of power that we're sitting on, and we're ready to try to exercise it with all of you.
Thank you. But can you tell people how to find that research that you...
The research, that just what they presented today.
No, that you talked about the violence interruption and the...
Oh, absolutely. If you go to naacpldf.org, you can find it. It's the framework for public safety. It involves mental health supports, other critical supports, wraparound services, and ways to disrupt violence in ways that don't perpetuate more violence through incarceration.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that's right. And people can use that research to go to their town halls and things like that, because a lot of times people feel like we're acting out of emotion, and we are sitting on a body of work, of research, of evidence, not just feelings. So thank you. Thank you for that.
No, I hate to talk about God when we just commended research, but really, the truth of the matter is, Janae Nelson just said it. We are never going to be safe, never have been safe in this country. It is unsafe to be black, period. It just is. What I do know is that my faith keeps me safe. I am rooted in the one who says, no weapon formed against me will prosper. That's what keeps me safe. And so I don't count on the police or others. I know that I could have died a long time ago, right? So I have to start with my faith. I honestly feel that your question about the non-negotiable really intrigues me. I think a non-negotiable is expendable people, people who don't matter. You know, think about 90% of the country didn't bother to vote that were eligible to, 90 million people, I'm sorry. 90, think about that, 90 million. Would that have made a difference in some elections? Would that have made a difference? So if people don't understand the value, their value, see, we can't get away from how people feel, valued or not. I think that data in Avis Weaver, that was amazing, and you are amazing. But when you think about it, a lot of that is people not feeling valued. So people who are expendable. We're in a society with AI and all where right now there are people who are sitting in back rooms saying we don't need a lot of people working. We don't care where they go. We don't care what planet they go to. We're not trying to have you working anymore because you don't have enough value. I think that's really a dangerous society. When people feel undervalued, they do dangerous things also.
That's right.
And so that deeply disturbs me. So I think what would help us as a people, for me, let me just tell you this. I sold a farm and got a good amount of money just before COVID. Let me tell you what happens about safety. The safety is us. It's being together. It's looking out for each other. So I moved to Ward 7 in D.C. Now, y'all know that's one of the poorest wards, has some high crime. I could have moved to Georgetown. I could have moved to Upper whatever. But I said, I am not going to be afraid of 14-year-old black kids.
Yes.
I'm not going to be afraid of our children. So I moved to Ward 7 because they need to see us. They need to see us dressed up, looking good, educated, talking right, and caring about them. That's safety. But guess what? I'd been there a week and a boy got shot across the street from my house. The people rallied. All the pastors and the people went around the neighborhood with flashlights and candlelight and all, talking to children, going to the schools and all. Crime in that community has actually gone down. We are one another's safety.
That's right.
So I'm just saying that, yes, I totally agree. The laws need to change. We need justice. We haven't even dealt with criminal justice reform. There is no justice in the criminal justice, right? But the reality, I'm not saying we shouldn't look outward. I'm saying our power, our safety, our arc of safety starts with us.
And I'm not sure I can add anything more to that because I agree. This is about us looking after us. The 2025, the rest that I was taking really had to do with reflecting on how we connect with each other. We have to, I too didn't move out of the hood. I'm right up in the hood, right? I live right in one of the more targeted polling places and precincts. And as much as organizing as I was doing and voter mobilizing that I was doing, my own precinct, I forgot to knock on the doors of the people that live around me because I see them all the time and I just assume that they know what they're supposed to do. But then they only turned out 42%, and so what I have spent time doing is really reconnecting with the neighbors that are in my area, right? And we have gotten so far from that. Prior to the 2024 election, I couldn't have told you about the person that lives down on the corner. I see them, but I don't interface with them. So just really being in community at the very local level, and that's what some of those people that I observed in the focus groups were saying to us, right? That's the data, that's how we were able to pull out that data. They get it, they know, they're thinking about this stuff very differently, and I think as powerful women in this room who do organizing and mobilizing and strategy and write white papers and things of that nature, we've got to get that to the local people so that they can start to self-contain and self-organize and be safe when things are attacking them, whether it's ICE or whether it's, you know, somebody with a hooded mask in their neighborhood that is coming after them.
Right, yes. Love thy neighbor. I did get it, right? Okay, Miss Deborah.
You gotta love yourself first.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So I would say the non-negotiable is the we, right? We have to do it. We can't depend on anyone else to rescue us. No one's coming for us, particularly Black women. We have to be the demonstration of what community looks like in the field. So we always say, when our rights are under attack, what will we do? We're gonna stand up and fight back. But how do we do this in this time? One, we have to have a plan, right? So they had their Project 2025, and now they have Project 2030. Where is our collective plan for the next 50 years of our survival, right? So we have to individually, organizationally, and nationally come together and form our strategy for the next 50 years. If not, we're going to continue to go and work in our silos. And as we're doing that, we have to cast the vision for what's happening in the future, but we have to organize right now, right? We're in World War III. I don't know if y'all know, we're in war and they're coming for us. And when they come and that grid goes down, what are we going to do? We're going to demonstrate that we know how to live in community. We're going to demonstrate that we know how to organize our communities and build farms and build gardens and make sure our people don't have that are safe. We're going to make sure that our young people are a part of everything that we do, because that's the way we're going to survive. They're going to know it in their DNA because we're going to teach them. So the power word of the day is we, the people, we Black women will survive because we're going to organize, mobilize, and strategize and work together. That's what we're going to do.
All right.
Period. Okay, look, the clock is ticking down, and I'm a radio girl, so I know how to keep up with time. So real quick, we're going to end it on a high note. Let's end with hope, and tell us how you are winning in 2026.
You starting with me again?
Start with you.
All right. We are winning, and I will take the perspective of the legal work that we do. I think you all heard from Demetria McCain, who was LDF's Director of Policy last night. We are winning in putting forth model legislation so that every state can adopt its own Voting Rights Act while our federal Voting Rights Act of 1965 is under attack. Those are the ways that we are not waiting on a court to tell us what we can do nationally. We're saying, regardless of the outcome of any case, we are still mobilizing on the ground, on the state level, and empowering people with things they can pull off the shelf and advocate before their state legislature for. We're also in courts, again, at the state and federal levels, disrupting this administration. We've beaten back so many executive orders that I've lost count. We are still defending birthright citizenship in the Supreme Court, along with the ACLU. We have a case before the Supreme Court, Louisiana versus Calais, that I had the pleasure and privilege of arguing in October. that we're waiting for a decision on, and everyone says we're going to lose that case, we're holding out hope because they say that about almost every case we bring, right? They said that about Brown versus Board of Education, and look what happened. So we are not giving up. We know we can win, and we know even when we lose, we still fight forward. So we absolutely are winning right now in ways that I think people don't fully appreciate because you're overwhelmed by all the negativity. But we have that power. We have the power to use even the instruments, the weapons that have been formed against us. They have not prospered when we've been strategic, when we've been thoughtful, when we've been organized and unified to push back and fight back as a people. So I believe we can win because we are winning.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to give you the last word. So I'm going to skip back to Deborah. How are you winning?
So we are winning because one of the things that we're doing is to make sure that we're organizing on the ground, right? And so as we're talking about elections, we're talking about voter registration, voter education, disinformation. We have to use our social media platforms and our media to tell the truth about what's going on in our community. We have to be the trusted messengers in our community, but we're organizing and we're training young people to knock on doors, to call people, to text folks, but we're using strategy and we're using data tools like VAN so that we can measure what we're doing. So when they say we didn't do something, we have the evidence that say that we do. I love this research from Hit Strategies and this partnership, because it's exactly what we should be doing. Tell our communities, show our communities what we're doing on the ground. It's all local. And then we're combining our resources, our research, and we're building the infrastructure, particularly for the South. We're helping each other in the South. If somebody has a good idea or a good program, we're saying, let's not compete, let's duplicate, let's grow the strategy, let's grow the buffet, and let's all do it in love and joy, because we're all we have.
Okay, Petey.
As an organizer like Deborah Scott, I can't say much different. I think we know what it takes. Investing in this next generation, breaking down our silos, using the science, using the data, using the right tools. We're not organizing anecdotally. We are definitely using the band so we can target more specifically who needs to be registered, who needs to be turned out. We're going to be using the data that we will craft smart messaging based on what people need to hear to get those spectators off the couch and get them to the polls. And we will be training this next generation to rebuild the base. Because the base in Ohio, I don't know how it is everywhere else. In Ohio, it is eroded. It is gone. And I think that the work that we can do through the coalition that I am blessed to be a convener of, we can rebuild the base, and we're doing that with young, Black, we're training a new generation of organizers to actually do this work and keep it moving.
Thank you. Okay, look, normally I would reserve the last word as the moderator, but I'm going to give you the last word on how you're winning, how we are winning in 2026.
With 2,000 poll chaplain and peacekeepers in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Virginia, and Wisconsin, working with LDF, Lawyers Committee, and others, putting people with their clergy collars standing, providing a moral and calming presence against ICE and every other intimidating attack. We did it at the last election. We're going to do it at this election. So people are going to feel safe at the polls because clergy and lay people alike are going to be there.
Thank you.
TurnoutSunday.com. Go online. You can sign up, lay or clergy. TurnoutSunday.com and bring hope.
Thank you. Okay, everybody give your websites real quick before we get off the stage. One more time, your website.
Yes, NAACPLDF.org. We have Black Voters on the Rise as our election protection apparatus, working with so many amazing partners. Please sign up, become a volunteer. We need every boot on the ground.
TurnoutSunday.com. I'm telling you, we had 1,000 last time. We've got to double it. We have young people, white people, black people. It's very diverse, Jews, imams, whatever. We have got to be there because once people know ICE is out there, they won't even go to the polls unless they know they are safe. So turnoutsunday.com.
Right, and you can find the work that we're doing in Ohio at www.ohiounity.org. That's www.ohiounity.org. But I'm also going to refer to my parent organization, www.ncbcp.org.
And Deborah?
All right, and ours is georgiastandup.org, georgiastandup.org. Like us on social media, but listen, let's meet you in the streets. We're organizing, let's do it. And if anyone wants to come to Georgia to help us out, you all come on back home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Put Deborah back on the screen. Deborah, stay on the screen. So I want to grab her in the photo. You got that, folks, back in the back? Okay.
We're going to count down the photo for Miss Deborah so she's online. So 3, photographer, I'm with you. I can see you. Just let me know when you're ready. Miss Deborah, you ready? So 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
And I ain't breaking my word. I just people into pieces, but I ain't gonna let it.
Yo, Blaze, you crazy for this one. Hey, all the champions out there feel so good. Hey, I said it feels so good.
We will, we will, we will, we will, we will. We will, we will, we will, we will, we will. We will, we will, we will, we will, we will.
We gon' make it. What didn't break me made me better.
All right, thank you, everyone. Now at this moment, we want to welcome to the stage Janice Mathis and the Hope and Justice Fellows as they lead us for our SNAP poll. Let's put our hands together and receive them at this time as they come.
I see disappointment all in their faces. The turtle still cross the finish line. We done raised the bar so many times, it's only right they give me mine. Diamond by myself, together we really shine. Long as I keep putting my faith and trust in God, I know that everything will be fine. Built for a real stand-up, God ain't never breaking my kind. I believe I can do anything, ain't never changing my mind. Life's all about patience, take it one day at a time. Life's all about patience, take it one day at a time, yeah.
Then you come across and take a seat, okay?
morning, everybody. Did you enjoy that last panel discussion? Did you learn anything new that you didn't already know? Did you learn anything that you expect to take back home and practice as part of your GLTV strategy and your organizing? So was this a worthwhile experience for you? Are you coming back next year? I want to introduce three very special young women to you this morning. They are part of the Thomas W. Dortch Institute at Clark Atlanta University, which is a project of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. These young folk were selected because of their academic acumen as well as their social justice instincts. So they are indeed very special. They are all students at Clark Atlanta University. How many of you know where Clark Atlanta University is? It is an up-and-coming institution and one of the favorites. They had so many students apply, something like 40,000 students applied for admission. They could only accept about a quarter of those. So it is with great pride that I introduce these fellows. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the fellowship. They are full-time students. They are pursuing degrees, actively pursuing degrees. But on the side, that's right, on the side, they are working, they are doing research, they are doing presentations, they're becoming well-known across the campus as well as across the city of Atlanta. So without further ado, oh, let me say one other thing. I don't know if it was Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner, I see you, Dr. Barbara, one of my mentors, that said, it's not enough to do a thing, you have to be able to prove that you did a thing. When a tree falls in the forest, if nobody hears it, did it really fall? Well, we're not in the business of doing work that nobody can document, so we say, we got trees falling, but we're also creating the proof, the evidence that the work is worthwhile. In alphabetical order, Ms. Paradisa Campbell. She hails from San Antonio, Texas. Her expected graduation date is May of 2026, so she is almost done. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad, May of 2028. She is pursuing a degree in planning, administration. She's in the School of Social Work pursuing a PhD. She'll be Dr. Campbell. Next, Ms. Madison Johnson. Ms. Johnson is from the cold climb of Windsor, Connecticut. She is a political science major pursuing a BA. She is the one who expects to graduating in May of 2026. And I am so pleased and proud to be able to say that she has already been accepted to Emory University for graduate study. And even more importantly, has gotten the financial aid to go along with it. Please welcome Madison Johnson. Last but certainly not least, Alicia Robinson. Ms. Robinson is from Lexington, Kentucky. She is a business administration major. Her expected graduation is December of 2026. I will give it to who's gonna lead the next part. Is that you, Paradisa? All right, we're gonna go through a little exercise, gather a little data. It's all about the
Yes. On the screen, we're going to display a Mentimeter, and it's a poll. We just want to see what you all's experience has been thus far. Oh, there it goes. If you have issues scanning the QR code, please let us know. Madison is going to come down in the crowd to assist if you need assistance, and then we'll project it here on the screen as well. I'll make it live. The code is up there. If you have issues with the code, can you please let us know? Once you scan the code, you should see the logo for the roundtable. Okay. And then I just haven't made it live yet. I'll make it live here in a second. Yes, it should be live now. If you have issues with the QR code, it's menti.com, and that's MENTI.com. There's another. Yeah. The first question is, I'm sorry, it's asking you to answer? Yes. No, the first question is, how are you united to win in 2026? The code? Answer.
Right. What's your word? So just ask them to say their one word. They can enter their word.
Well, it's you can't.
gonna
It's not
display.
it's not projecting. Okay. Do you want to read off some of the responses? Well, I can't see it. Yeah, I see that now. It just shifted to the second question. There's a mic behind you. Okay.
Okay, you guys, one of our first questions was, how are you united to win in 2026? And we see some of you all put voting, organizing, advocating, resistance. So keep putting those answers to those questions.
I thought it was going to display on the screen so that it's supposed to be a word cloud, and you all are supposed to be able to see all of the words, and then we're supposed to be able to interact with you all based on the responses. But go to the next question. So the second question states, how can Black people resist, save, and transform our democracy for the betterment of all people? As long as it's live in your phone, it's okay. It's we're still tracking, but we just wanted you all to be able to see the projections, at least for the word clouds, but it's okay. And then you want to read some of the responses. Alicia will read some of the responses. There's 4 questions. It's about 4 or 5 questions. It's like, whatever. Oh, you're moving the question? Don't move it yet.
All right, some of you guys' responses were get in the field, unite, I know, right? Unite together, stand up and fight, vote was a big one. We have multiple for voting, to be educated, and investing in our own people.
I want to apologize, everyone. We're having a little bit of a technical problem. So when we come back from lunch, you'll be able to see your answers that everyone displayed on the screen. So if everyone still could participate and answer the questions as we go along, you'll be able to see what everyone else responds when we come back.
Thank you all. Because they have access to it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the United We Win Power Table 2 strategy? Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. Access to quality and affordable care, public health, caregiving vital to healthy living, preventive, chronic, and infectious disease education. Please welcome to the stage at this time our moderator, Joy Olivia Cheney, founder of Joy Strategies and senior policy advisor of the NCBCP. Let's put our hands together and receive her at this time as she comes.
Hello, good morning, good morning. I have the most amazing panel. I'm going to let them get all up. We want everyone to get up safely. Good morning. I have a big panel. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to get back on track. Hello. Thank you. Good morning. Oh, we have one gentleman on stage with us. We love that. Well, first of all, I can't believe as a moderator, woo, okay. I can't believe as a moderator I have to follow Reese, who I often follow on Roland. So it is really good to do this. She has given me skills and advice already. I'm so glad to be on. Again, my name is Joy Cheney. I'm thrilled to be here. I have a fantastic panel of friends and mentors, and Justin's my new friend. But it's great to be here. Let me start with my left. Dr. Takesha Everett, Executive Vice President of Trust for America's Health. Next to her is Dr. Gigi Belliumi. Okay, wonderful. Melanie's doctor. We're so glad to have her here to bring a clinical perspective. I have former administrator Shakita Brooks LaSure. She is the founder of Willing Bridge Strategies, a new venture, but the former administrator of the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, or Medicare and Medicaid Services. Next to her is Cleola Brown, the incomparable Cleola Brown, president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, longtime ally supporter of the Black Women's Roundtable. Yes, yes. And then we have Justin Rush, Senior Director, State Government Affairs of Gilead Sciences, one of our sponsors, and we want to thank him. Next, she already got a shout out today. Reverend Dr. Judith C. Moore, convener of the Greater Pittsburgh Western PA Black Women's Roundtable, Executive Director of Sisters Saving Ourselves Now, and Melanie's sister. And last but certainly not least, Jocelyn Fry, President of the National Partnership for Women and Families. She left her coat here last year, and I was supposed to bring it to her, and you know that she had to bring a new coat today because it's still in my closet. Terrible, terrible. But it just goes to show how long we've been doing this, and Black Women's Roundtable is a pilgrimage for so many of us. And so I'm thrilled. I admit it publicly because it's so embarrassing. Even my husband's like, is that Jocelyn's coat still in your closet? Yes. We're going to fix it. I promise. Let's open up. You know, this has been a really a tough year, but also some silver linings, right, for healthcare. Who knew at the beginning of last year that healthcare would be so significant to the American people that we would shut down the entire government because of it? They didn't realize. Maybe Shakita realized, right? But like for the rest of us, I don't know that that would have been on our bingo card, right? And yet it was so important because of the big, beautiful bill. We're a bipartisan space. I call it the big ugly bill. That there was an attack on Medicaid, and it turns out not just people who look like us use Medicaid. There are a lot of white people who use Medicaid, and they were very upset about their Medicaid being taken away and otherwise frustrated. So, and then of course with the alternative premium tax credits, one of my other clients is Protect Our Care, and so I'll be drawing upon some of that experience today. We were talking about it, and I know Shakita was talking about it, and I know that our doctor and Takesha was talking about it. We were all like, and Jocelyn, we were all like, there's going to be a big problem in a couple of months because these ACA tax credits are going to expire. And then lo and behold, it became the big issue of the year. So now we all know how important healthcare is to us and how important the ACA is to us. I'd like to talk about what are some of the greatest challenges first, if you don't mind, that are facing our healthcare system right now. And I'm going to start with the former administrator, just given her experience leading the largest employer in America, the largest insurer in America for 4 years. What are the greatest challenges to healthcare right now? Uh-oh, is it her mic on? Justin, will you, okay. Try that one. We know mine works. Oh no, I think we got one. Yeah?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Well, thank you, Joy. You set up, and thank you all for being here and inviting us to speak with you today. You really set us up well to talk about, I think, just how much healthcare is so important. And I think I saw an article yesterday that was just talking about just the heartbreaking decisions that people are making in this moment, regardless of what program they're in. And I think that that is really what we have seen, that over the last 10, 15 years, healthcare costs have continued to rise, and a lot of people are spending a great deal of their discretionary income on healthcare. You asked, where was I surprised? I think that people think of the economy as an economic issue sometimes as separate than healthcare issues, but healthcare is driving so many decisions in families, and it's generational. You know, when we passed the drug benefit and made drugs more affordable, I had young people talk about how it meant something to them because they were helping their grandparents and their parents. And again, healthcare is such an important issue. We were on a great trajectory. We had not solved anywhere near all of the problems, but at the end of the Biden administration, we had reached the lowest uninsured rate in history. We had started to make progress on drug coverage. We were moving to addressing health disparities in more, in better ways. And then not only did the Congress and the president decide to take $1 trillion out of the healthcare system from Medicaid and not passing the Affordable Care Act tax credits, but also going after states in a more aggressive way. I mean, and it's not as visible, but the administration has recently gone after almost exclusively blue states to say that you're doing fraud and abuse. They are taking over 10% of Minnesota's budget. And I don't think people understand that there is absolutely an attack on people getting coverage, which is incredibly important, but it's not just people. The states, most states, are facing somewhere between 15 to 25% of their federal revenues are going to decline over the next couple of years. So all the talk about, you know, don't worry if you're an older person, don't worry if you have a disability, we're not touching you. Guess what those states are going to have to do? They are going to cut benefits. They are going to cut provider payments. And what does that mean at the end of the day? It means that the providers that provide coverage are going to struggle. So community health centers, safety net providers, hospitals are already closing labor and delivery services across the nation. Small rural hospitals are closing because they were on a shoestring even before the cuts were put into place. And this is what we're already starting to see. We're starting to see providers close up shop or close up some of their crucial services. And states right now are really grappling with what kind of benefits are we going to cover. So that's the real, I think, again, we know, and we're talking about people losing coverage, but we're not talking as much about what are going to be the hard decisions that are going to need to be made relatively soon that are really going to have this trickle down of affecting even more people than was visible, I think, at this particular moment.
Thank you so much, Shakita. Gigi, she gave me permission to call her by her first name, and I thank you for that. What's happening as a clinician? You know, you're a doctor on the ground, so it's my mother, and she's watching. Hi, Mom. What are you seeing on the ground in terms of your patients, in terms of what challenges they're facing, and maybe even other doctors?
So good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about such an important topic. There are so many aspects to this, but let's step back. What actually is it that determines how long we live? It's actually only 20% has to do with coming to see a clinician. Only 20%. 80% are what we call the social determinants of health. And amongst them, education is number one. So let me tell you about DC, which is where I've been living for the past 40 years from Michigan. The poorest ward, which is Ward 8, Anacostia, versus Georgetown, the richest ward. If you live in Georgetown, your average life expectancy is 94 years. In Anacostia, it's 66 and a half years. That is the biggest difference in the United States. Most urban areas, it's about 16, 17 years. Furthermore, Washington, D.C. has the #1 per capita cancer death rate, end-stage kidney disease, and HIV. That's Washington, D.C. And remember, averages don't tell the whole truth. In Ward 8, our infant mortality rate is the same as El Salvador and Cambodia. Our HIV rate, similar to Namibia. The young people in Ward 8, where less than 50% graduate from high school. If all I did was get them to graduate, I would add 10 years to their life expectancy. So social determinants of health are real. The economic health of the community, the food, I mean, you can read all about it. There's lots of information. And then let me tell you what the #1 social determinant of mental health is. It's food. So imagine what's happening now with people deciding whether to eat or place to shelter or to buy health care. We always, I think not we, but some of us forget about the importance of mental health. We are not two separate systems, we're one. So if mental health is impacted, guess what else is impacted? Well, I've got competing priorities. I may be in a household with 3 generations. I'm going to forget about my mammogram. I'm going to forget about colonoscopies. I'm going to forget about, should I even take my blood pressure medication? Because it's not, women, we always put others before us. So that is, if I were to focus on how to maximize people's health, I would focus on education. And what's happening in education, you have a wrestler or somebody who's in charge, the Secretary of Education. What is she? The world, and who is being...
She certainly likes A1.
Right.
Right.
The target again and again, poor, people of color in blue states.
Right.
So now to speak just briefly on the crisis in clinicians. During COVID, 1 in 3 physicians, I'm just talking about physicians now, and by the way, physicians are wonderful, but let's talk about nurses, nurse practitioners.
Yes, of course.
All the other people that do the real work. We always get the credit. So 1 in 3 physicians over 50 left the profession. And the numbers are increasing, and it's all across the age spectrum. And guess what? For people like me, general internist, primary care, those numbers are really high. Why? Insurance pre-authorizations are going to be the death of me and the paperwork. What do? They expect metrics, which you check off, which actually, the only metric that makes a difference in people's life expectancy is diabetes. Everything else is just busy work. So what's happening is now a two-tiered system, which has always existed, is being exacerbated. People that can afford to are getting concierge service. Physicians who are getting tired of having to do the paperwork, I'm not going to accept insurance, I'm just going to do, concierge service. So what does that mean? If you have Medicare or Medicaid, there's a smaller pool of physicians to go to. And physicians, you need to get your referral for this. You need to get, so generalists, you can't. I had one woman with Medicare call 25 different group or physician practices before she came to me.
Wow, wow, wow.
Finally, I would just say private equity buying up practices is real. They're buying up bowling alleys, by the way, and mobile homes. So predatory capitalism, and now predatory has a double meaning in this administration, is real.
I like you.
And there was a congressman, I don't know his name, a Republican, who himself, he's a physician, himself requires life-sustaining medication. Got the best insurance in the country, right? He said that it took 8 visits to CVS to get his medication. He said, if I have trouble, then imagine what other people. And he said that the vertical integration that they have in insurance companies, where they have their own medication, all these kinds of things. He said, that's a monopoly. You guys have a bank. It needs to be broken up. There should be no room for profit and health care in the same sentence.
Now, that is a word to end on. Let me tell you what, if you want to find Dr. Gigi, I didn't say this, she's the founding and executive director of the Rodham Institute and professor of medicine at Georgetown University School of Medicine. That's what, we're going to be switching to you. Now, Takesha, I'm going to come to you next because we've talked a lot about traditional healthcare, but I really want to talk about public health. What are the threats to that as we sit in a room with the rise of measles? Go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. So much has already been said that I want to go to, so this is me talking to me to stay on focus and talk about public health. First, let me just do a little commercial break and say what Trust for America's Health is, because a lot of people don't know. We're a national, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization located here in DC, focused on advancing the population's health by ensuring we have a strong public health system. So I like a little interactivity. So by a show of hands, how many of you from your local or state, I'm gonna go local first, know who your local public health director is? Just raise your hand, because this is a savvy group. I just want y'all to look around and see that. Okay, now in your state, how many of you know who your state commissioner of health or your state public health commissioner is? Just look around. And this is but do you know your public health person? I'm pretty sure you do. Right?
Well, of course you do. I don't.
So I wanted to just show you and look at that, because here's what's the fascinating component of this. I consider us a savvy group, and many of us don't even know who is controlling the local or state public health activities that are happening locally or statewide. Now, why is that? We are one of the few countries in the world who actually separates our healthcare system from our public health system. So many people can talk to you quickly about how much healthcare costs them, how do they go to a doctor, et cetera, but many people don't even know what public health does. And public health often does its work very invisibly until we need to be visible. Now, what does it mean when we need to be visible? As Joy just said, we are facing a measles outbreak right now across the nation. Kansas, Texas, I can keep going on and naming places. At rates that we've not seen before, we are subject in the US to lose our eradication status of measles because of how much that outbreak is happening. What is that linked to? Vaccines. How do people get vaccines? Usually not only through their doctors, but through the public health system. We can also talk about East Palestine and what happened in Ohio when there was the train crash and train challenge, and there was emitted chemicals that needed to be cleaned up. Who did that? Public health. Now, some of y'all might have thought it was the Environmental Protection Agency. No, it wasn't them alone. It was public health. CDC, FDA, SAMHSA, I can keep naming the agencies, are all about public health. And what is public health? Ultimately, the goal of moving population health to where it needs to be, maximizing health, well-being, and longevity. The greatest public health achievements we have had, or I should say the greatest health achievements we have had in the US are not linked to health care. As you just said, It's about the things that happen outside of the clinician's office. So we have longevity in our lives now because public health works, seat belts, tobacco cessation, and I can just keep going on. But let me also tell you the one thing that's really great about public health, and then I'm gonna answer your question about the threat. How many of you go to restaurants and don't even worry about whether the food is good, safe, or sanitized for you to eat? Right. That is public health. Now, we might not be in Flint, this statement is probably for everybody but those in Flint, Michigan, but how many people turn on your water and drink it freely and use it freely? That is public health. So we have a challenge in our country because many of us are not advocating for.
Hold on.
Not you. Many of us are not advocating for or supporting the public health system and the infrastructure. And so when you ask Joy what's at threat, we are currently in a situation where public health is being attacked and decimated, mainly because people don't even understand what it is, how to access it, and what to do to support it. So there are lots of things that are happening. We are changing vaccine schedules. We are questioning, we have a lot of things happening in the food system. The dietary guidelines just recently changed. And all of these things are connected and impacted. My last point I'm gonna say on this is the following. We need to be very mindful about the connectivity between healthcare and public health, because as the things that Chiquita and Gigi just mentioned are happening, which are exacerbating and making it difficult for the healthcare system to withstand the care of individuals, it's the public health system that is then going to be at risk and take on all of the heat from that. Because if people aren't getting vaccines, vaccine-preventable diseases rise. If people are not getting screenings for diabetes and other chronic diseases, the management and treatment of those things rise, and the public health system is already weakened. It is already difficult and cannot handle what it needs to do. We do not have the workforce infrastructure to support the population's health, and we don't have, again, enough people. When you look around this room and you saw people don't even know they're public health folks who even understand what's at risk and how to engage and what we need to do.
Thank you so much, Takesha. I'm going to turn next to Jocelyn, and I want to say in advance, she has to leave a little earlier, which is why she's sitting on the end. My next question for you, and Claylola, you're going to get the same question, both of you, is about, we talked about all these things, and then the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion happened. How has that impacted the healthcare space?
Well, thank you for the question, Joy, and my apologies for having to leave early. It is not due to the fact that I'm afraid Joy is going to take my coat, I assure you. I think actually the lead-in to your question helps to answer it because, and I think on the previous panel, Janae said, a lot of what we're discussing is not by accident, right? Like the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion is a very intentional effort to slow and turn back the clock on the enormous progress that we have made to make sure that everybody has access to health care, that everybody has access to the infrastructure that provides for the delivery of health care, that a lot of the different ways that the doctor talked about with the concierge services where healthcare is only accessible to people of means, we have spent an enormous amount of time trying to make sure that, in fact, everybody has the ability to be healthy and well. So the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion has played itself out in ways that you can imagine. The cessation of data collection, things like the pregnancy risk assistant monitoring system that has been a tool to monitor maternal health, particularly maternal health disparities. The reductions and firing of federal workers. A lot of the agencies and the infrastructure that has been used to expand access to health care has, simply gone away. The targeted programs that were created to deal with some of the ways that our healthcare has, our health outcomes have become particularly problematic. A lot of those targeted programs looking at racial disparities across the board, Black maternal health, health disparities, but other areas of disparities. Now many of those programs are being deemed as quote-unquote DEI, and so suddenly they're no longer there. On top of that, people, read the room. So states that were doing things on their own decide to pull back on things, whether or not it's permissible by law. So I think what you see is the reverberating effects of an administration that is very intentionally trying to eliminate and damage infrastructure that's been critical to addressing health and well-being across the board. The last thing that I will say about that is that this administration is clearly motivated by a view that there are some people who are deserving of being well and there's some people who are not. This is not accidental, right? It is very much present in the mindset of many of the so-called leaders who now will be, they're completely open about sort of the narrative, sort of the fittest survive, right? Like they're willing to take $1 trillion out of Medicaid because they don't care about people who get Medicaid. Right? And they assume that it's mostly black people, right? Like, because they also don't understand health care.
Which is why they can't even go to their town hall meetings, because it's white people.
It's white people too. I mean, I think they miscalculated.
They did.
And didn't really understand it. Yeah. But the reality is that a lot of what they're doing is fueled by this narrative of, I don't really care. You're not my people. The people who I care about have money and can access it. And I think there's also the mindset that if people are weaker and sicker, then they're less likely to fight back. Right? Like it's all, I think, connected. So I think we have to be clear that, data collection and things that seem very technical, they actually matter to begin to enabling us to tell a story about what's happening on the ground, but also that the infrastructure is really critically important to the overall ecosystem, healthcare ecosystem. The very last thing I will say, is that I think it was Chiquita who made this point. I think it's important for us to connect the dots because it's not just one thing. Like one thing usually leads to 10 things, right? Like the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion is also about education. It's about hiring. The effect of pulling $1 trillion out of Medicaid is not simply a loss of health care. It's that those health providers know they're not going to have money, so they're going to reduce their hiring, which means that you have a smaller workforce, a less diverse workforce. And that also has ramifications in terms of the ability to provide health care to people. The efforts that have been done in previous years to diversify the healthcare workforce so that you actually are having more culturally competent care that deals with things like, making sure that, a woman who's in labor, a black woman in labor, isn't turned away simply because they think, well, you can absorb pain, right? Like, that's why the diversification of healthcare workforce is so important. Like, those things sort of go by the wayside. So I think we have to be cognizant of all of the different pieces that are implicated by, sort of this superficial narrative around DEI, which really is just a subterfuge for, making the world, less healthy for black and brown folks, right?
Let me ask you a quick question about paid leave, because I think that connects to our healthcare system as well. And obviously, we know National Partnership is one of the leaders there, maybe the leader.
Yeah, well, I think one of the other panelists mentioned the social determinants of health, and you were talking about education. Another social determinant of health is just the economic stability of families. And so what we know, generally speaking, is that a lot of women, in particular, are more likely to have caregiving responsibilities. We also know that many black folks live in communities where they're less likely to have access to income if they take off time to care for somebody. And so we work on paid family and medical leave, paid sick leave, and a lot of work-family policies in the workplace context, because we want to make sure that if people are taking off time for their own illness, for caregiving for a parent or a loved one, that they're not losing income in the process, right? We came out with research just this past week, and through the 15 states, I think it's 15 states with, including the District of Columbia, that have paid leave at the state level, a third of the private sector workforce now has access to paid family and medical leave, which is great improvement. One of the communities that's less likely to have access, though, is Black workers. And the reason is because they're disproportionately in the South. And the South is far less likely to have those types of advances in terms of policies. That's why Virginia is so important. It's on the cusp of passing paid family and medical leave. So I think we have to think about some of these issues in context, right? Right. And the reality is that many of these issues are more pronounced in the South. You're less likely to have access to supports in the South. Some of the rural implications that Chiquita was talking about with the Medicaid cuts we are seeing in the South. There's states that have almost no labor and delivery units, right? Like that's the blackest part of the country. Yeah, it's blackest part of the country. And yet we are talking about Black women who are experiencing the steepest maternal health barriers, right? So I think we have to be really clear that the DEI subterfuge is really a tactic to eviscerate the infrastructure that's been so essential, not only for Black communities, but really all communities of color to get healthy and well.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Please tell Betsy I did my job. Thank you, thank you. Clay, I want to turn, Madam President of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. Clay, I want to turn to you. What's your take on that question about DEI and its impact within healthcare specifically?
Well, okay, first of all, let me just do a clarification, all right? I'm the only one sitting up here without a PhD or an MD, all right? And I'm from South Carolina, so you're going to get it straight, no chasing from me, all right? And the other part of that is I don't come from a wealthy family, so everything that these professionals, who I feel profoundly privileged to be sitting with, are talking about, I don't live it, all right? And I think I'm the oldest one on this panel. 77, I'm happy to still be here, okay? All right. But I say all of that to say this: to be an activist or to do something about this, we have to do some reality checks too, to recognize where we are. It's really good to have people that you're connected to. Dr. Gigi took care of my mother. When my mother was sick in South Carolina and could not get any help, I said, Melanie, come here, sister. Let's talk, because I'm bringing mama to me. She called me and said, you need to come and get me. And you know, proud Black women don't say that. When she said that, I knew I need to get up right then, got my pocketbook off the floor, got in my car and drove to Charleston and got my mother and brought her back to DC. And all the sister connections that we have led me to this bad sister right here. This one right here. And they told me that in South Carolina, my mother was not expected to live for more than 3 months. Dr. Gigi gave me almost 2 years with my mama. Thank you very much. Yay. Thank you very much, my sister. I appreciate that. But when we say we're really, taking a look at some of the stuff that's going on, I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm sorry, we're getting her number. We're all switching to Gigi.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm going to get you some business, sister. But a piece of it is we have to do some reality checking, too. I don't know them big words, y'all, so don't look for them from me, all right? But I know this, and a part of the reason is because we've got a jackass in the White House, all right? That part, plus we brought an ignoramus to be the Secretary of Health. His family knew that Robert F. Kennedy was stupid. So tell me, why are we confused? We are not confused. We know why the measles stuff is going on, because he said that you don't need any vaccination. Shut the hell up, man. You know what I'm talking about? We have got to be able to fight back to these people that we have common sense and know that they don't know what the heck they're talking about. A piece of it is because we live it every day. Several of the lettered folks, and thank God for y'all, I appreciate that extensively, because when they say bring somebody to the front, I'm surprised y'all decided to put me up here with them, all right? But when they said to bring some folks to the front to talk about X, Y, and Z, they're not thinking about people like me. And that's okay, but in our family, that in the circle that we work in, that's who we think of first, because we know every day we see it. And the piece of it is to recognize some of the stuff that's happening and call it for what it is. Now, I say that to say this. When we take a look at what's happening in our healthcare industry, we have to look at our communities, as you all were saying. I live in Northeast DC. Providence Hospital got shut down, and ain't nobody asked us nothing. And a piece of it was providing health care not only to our community, but also to our veterans. They didn't have any place to go, so what did they do? Camp out outside of VA Hospital, over by Washington Hospital Center. What did that jackass on the Hill do? He had them to make all of those veterans give up their tents and their access to the VA hospital so that we have a big, beautiful city. Our mayor didn't do that to them. Muriel Bowser said, okay, you need to be close to your hospital, that's cool. And they were able to walk from the encampments that they had over to the hospital to get the care that they were entitled to, because those are the people that went out and fought for us. Just like the bodies that are going to be coming home now that that idiot has started a war that we did not have to have, will bring back bodies from the families like us. You understand what I'm trying to say, y'all? It ain't proper, but it's for real, all right? One of the main things that I wanted to mention, and I'm going to hush because I'm an old lady, I can talk for a long time, I'm not going to do that today. One of the things that I really wanted to make sure that I got an opportunity to mention in this session was the fight around 340B, okay? 340B is money that was given to provide some assistance to the high cost of medication. And it gets given to hospitals and other facilities to take care of communities that are impacted. Now, we are not just impacted, they killing us while we're standing there looking at it, all right? Because how many of y'all know somebody who has diabetes? Raise your hand. Okay, that tells a story right there by itself. How many folks know people that are on dialysis? Some of our folks can't even say dialysis. They say, I got to go to dialysis, right? But they know the picture sign that says Daisy, too, because that's all in our community. They making good money, and that's all right, as long as you're taking care of our people. But 340B was supposed to help assist in bringing down the cost of medication. What has happened in a lot of cases is that monies go, and it's not transparent about how it's distributed. A lot of our folks are paying unbelievable costs for medication because the application of that discount does not hit the people. A lot of the facilities are hiring people to manage that, and those managers are making a fat salary. And they're hurting the doctors because the doctors ain't getting a cut in it, okay? Y'all are fine. I know you're fine, and that's okay. But in order to keep them fine and in our communities, they have to get wages, respect, and clients that they care about, because a lot of our doctors are activists also when they can afford to be. But the 340B position in most of our communities, we have to stand up, y'all. Ask those hospitals, well, what is the percentage that our folks who are going to the hospital get as a deduction on the hospital prescriptions that they have to fill? If you're getting the money, do they pay full price? Do they pay half price? Do they pay a third of what is being charged? Most are being charged more than what originally is the cost of the medication. If you don't say nothing, you ain't gonna get nothing. You know what I'm saying? And medication is very expensive.
Very expensive. Very expensive.
But if we're not active in this piece, I am so willing to give as much information on what that looks like without being able to articulate it properly to you right now, because we're blessed. Inside of APRI, we have a whole cadre of doctors and pharmaceutical agencies. Not all of them are bad. Some of them are rotten, but you pick out the good ones to do the work to help you understand what the heck is going on. And they will help you to understand exactly what the principles are to make sure that your people are not getting ripped off. I will share everything that I get. And all of you are always invited to come to what we do. But please know that this is one piece that we have got to do something about, because people are making the choices like everyone has been saying, deciding whether it's going to be groceries or whether it's going to be medicine. And that's a hard thing to have to choose from. We are an active people. We can cook a chicken 965 ways. We can hook up a hog from the rooter to the tutor. But if you don't have the money to start with, where you can't even see it because you're going blind, it's not going to work. We have to be able to pull that full armor of God that God has given us on every day by staying informed and being ready to fight. Because Deb already said it earlier this morning. When we fight, we win.
We win. We win.
We win. We win.
Y'all gonna help me win this clock too. Now, Justin, that's a really so good layup for you, because she talked about we want businesses to make money as long as they're serving our people. Gilead Sciences does that. I want to hear about what your company is doing to sort of alleviate some of the stress that we have all described here.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. It would be a missed opportunity if I did not get up here and say that it's because of Black women that we have had any advancement in social justice,
This man is
civil
smart.
rights. Listen, I'm from the South too. I'm from Mississippi. I can hear my mama saying right now, you got to give credit to where credit is due. And it's because of Black women like Reverend Deb Frazier Howes that HIV has gone from being what's considered to be a death sentence to being a manageable chronic disease.
Yes.
So I couldn't have let that moment pass by without saying that, and I'm so thankful to sit among giants of Black women empowerment. So thanks to each of you. Yes.
There's time for that.
Come
Clap.
on, yeah, come on, be clap. First of all, I want to say that Gilead Sciences is a proud sponsor of this national summit. We understand the importance of bringing empowerment and education to the people to where they are. I think that, from a charitable contribution perspective, we, in 2024 alone, have supported $300 million in direct charitable contributions to organizations to address health equity, to address education, to where people are, finding them where they are and where they're receiving services, to help increase screening and linkage to care for HIV. So Gilead Sciences is a biopharmaceutical company that provides treatment and prevention primarily for HIV. We also have a cure for hepatitis C, inflammation, oncology. We have a COVID-19 treatment. But we really are at the forefront of working with communities to bring education to state houses, to federal level, to the White House, to elevate research. I saw the presentation that this beautiful sister gave earlier around research and education and the importance of that. I think that one thing that we sponsor is AIDSView.org. If everybody could take an opportunity to go to AIDSView.org, this is a place where you can learn information around the racial and ethnic disparities that exist as it pertains to HIV, where you can understand where HIV prevalence and data falls within your individual state. We highlight research that's being done within community. We would love to partner with you to elevate the work that's being done. And I think that we just had National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day on March 10th. And this would be a perfect opportunity to collaborate with her on this work. But we are really with you in communities. We are elevating the voices and experiences of Black women in state, federal level, and you to make sure that we can maintain the investments on the federal level and on the state level to make sure that we can address health disparities inclusive of HIV.
Because, of course, when we're thinking about HIV, many times we're thinking of men, but it's disproportionately impacting Black women. Can you do anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I think you just covered it, right? There's a disproportionate impact among HIV among Black women. I think that Black women are disproportionately impacted, but they're also at a lower rate of access to PrEP. I think there's around 2% of users of pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is a medication that you can take as an HIV negative individual to ensure that you stay HIV negative. It empowers you to be able to say that my sexual health is my own, and regardless of whatever is happening and taking place with the people I may be having sex with, that I can know that I can remain HIV negative. I don't think black women see themselves as users of PrEP.
I don't think so either. I think that's right.
Yeah, and I think very early on with the marketing and some of the medications, it was very targeted to specific people, and black women didn't see themselves in that. But I think that it's an opportunity for education, it's an opportunity for growth, it's an opportunity for empowerment, and I think that black women have to be at state houses. They have to be working with their local public health officials to be able to say, we need solutions to be able to bring PrEP to black women. We need investments in education and awareness for our communities, and it's your job to serve us to be able to do that. So I think that that's one thing, if I could elevate. We know we all got here because of sex. You know, that's not something that's new, right? And so if we are engaging in sex, we need to be able to talk about it. And if we can talk about it, we can educate about it. And PrEP is an option for each and every one of you.
Yes, thank you, brother. All right, Reverend Judy. Can you tell me about what's happening, not just in Pittsburgh, just what do community leaders, people on the ground need in this moment where healthcare, we feel like we're in a moment of retrenchment, but yet all the issues seem to be advancing?
I learned a long time ago to rephrase the question.
Please.
But first of all, Scripture tells us that the enemy is here to kill, steal, and destroy. And so my sisters and my brother, they want to take us out. They're doing it through the cuts. They want to kill us. They're trying to starve our children so that we have no legacy to pass on. And I wanted personally, since I have this platform, to specifically thank Dr. Gigi on behalf of the Campbell family for saving our sister. Had it not been for you, she wouldn't be here today. So I don't want to get too emotional because I'm probably saying something. But I wanted to say that I'm type 2 diabetic, and so when you said that, my little Dexcom went off, but it took me 2 months to get my prescription of my needed insulin. It took me going to my primary care back and forth with the pharmacist, and each one were blaming the other one for it. While as my mother and grandmother would say, my sugar, normal range went from 88% normal to 8% normal, and I still had to fight. But I had a sister who, I'm not going to tell you her name, is Melanie, but she said, oh, heck no. Y'all know Melanie, so y'all can figure that out. You need to record that stuff down, and I'm paraphrasing that too. And then she said, write that down. So when I went in my chart, and I put in there that my life is being threatened, my health is deteriorating because you all are trying to figure out how I can get my medicine, but I need to stay here. And thank God for my AAP and an advocate and Medicare and Medicare. Got on the phone with the primary care physician, and she basically told her, I have 4 specialists, right? And she told us, she said, we don't have her anywhere in our system. And I can't help you, and I can't help her. And those words stick with me every day. So when we're talking about what we need to do, we need to be the advocates. We need to be able to tell the story. It's not a pretty story. And so because of who we are a threat to everything. And so that's why we need to fight. Not only fight for ourselves, but fight for our families, our neighbors.
That's wonderful. So Takesha and I were here, I'm like, why am I crying? And she's like, I'm so angry. So you all are taking us through it. We're gonna do a rapid round now, rapid round on 2 questions. One, as we look forward, we know that what we had before we can't do again, right? That wasn't working, it brought us here. So as we look forward to what the next version of health reform will be, what we need going forward, where do you think we need to start? I'm going to start with Shakita, because I know that you think about this all the time.
So where I think we need to start is making sure that our policies are connected to what people are experiencing, and that it's really going to take every part of the healthcare sector saying, this is not working for any of us, and we're all going to have to give a little bit to envision a new world. We talked about, I would say, 6 things here in this conversation that need to change, and it's going to take even more than those 6. We're going to have to be very bold about tackling them all. The prior authorization, which is driving our doctors and clinicians to say, forget it, and is causing people not to get what they need. It's our drug policy, it's consolidation, and on and on. So I'll leave it at that because you said it was rapid, but I think we all have to say, we've got to envision a new world. It should not take being completely rich and have access to doctors who will pick up the phone for you to get what you need.
Justin.
I think to pick up on what Chiquita just said is there can be nothing for us without us. So these systems that are being created, these programs, the funding, it all has to be fueled and informed by the people that are most impacted. And I think that has to be the method of change that we utilize and that we force and push our elected officials to utilize when they're coming up with whatever this new system or this policy solution looks like.
Takesha, right here.
I'm going to go a different route on this question and say, I think that what we need to do is, one, not be reactive to any current state of where we are, but we need to be proactive about the world we need to be in. So we need to reimagine all of the stuff that we're talking about when it comes to health and healthcare, and think through what is the future we need 7 generations from now so that we're not in this room having the same conversation again. That means durable policy. That means narrative change. That means not reacting just to the moment, but thinking forward and building bigger and better. And it's not about making anything better again or great again. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, well.
I did it now. But it's really about, we have never seen equity and justice when it comes to healthcare in the United States. And so what does it take to do that? And the durability of our policy change is rested on us not thinking about today, but really building systems that are going to work for a world we haven't even seen before.
Dr. Gigi, my new doctor.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge, first of all, Ms. Deborah Fraser-Howe, because during COVID, she and the Reverend Al Sharpton created Choose Healthy Life, which we didn't talk about the role of the church in getting the message out, in educating, in all the great work that's done that addresses all those social determinants of health, whether it's feeding people, giving them counsel and spiritual help, whatever. So I just want to say that. Yeah. What I see as the future, which is a neglected group, are the medical assistants and the people that are really in the trenches that come from communities that we want to serve. First of all, letters behind your name doesn't necessarily mean anything. My grandmother, who got a 6th grade education, was one of the smartest human beings ever. And let me tell you, those medical assistants can run circles around a lot of the doctors. There is a crisis in the workforce there. 1 in 3, and they're mostly black women, left the workforce during COVID because they had zero protections, none. They were not seen they get minimum wage, which you can get more money working at McDonald's or Burger King. So I think we need to really focus on them because that's how we're going to increase the educational capital, economic capital, social, political capital of communities. And so when we're talking about workforce, we have to throw the net very, very wide. And guess what? When you educate and get mostly those women, guess what happens to the other generations? Yes. It's a two-way system. When this gets educated, the other. So I think we need to look beyond, quote unquote, the people with letters after their names. We're not doing it. First of all, we're not doing a good job, number one. And we need to look at others who really do the work.
Reverend Judy, I'm gonna go to you next. So the question is, what else do we need in the next round of healthcare reform?
Yeah, what we are doing in Pittsburgh, we've created a group called Empowered Voices, Healing Hands. And what we need to do is reimagine again what it means to be family. And when we talk about that, even though I'm a trained, certified community health worker, what we are looking to do is to get the seed money to train not only ourselves, but other leaders in the faith-based communities to check on one another, to call and say, hey, listen, how you doing today? Do you have a doctor's appointment? Can I help make one for you? Do you need a ride there? What can I bring to you that's nutritious that will help you in your recovery? And so we are looking to continue to expand that work in the Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania area.
That's wonderful. Cleola, what else can we be doing in this next round of healthcare reform? And I'm thinking about your background also as a union leader as well.
Well, I think among the trade union movement, I'll start there first. Within each of the locals that are existing around the country, healthcare has become the #1 issue for discussion because we are feeling it hard, and folks are not sitting back and being quiet. So inside the labor movement, that's where the activism on the Hill, that's where the hollering in the community, that's where all of that stuff is really revving up. And after they attacked AFGE the way that they did, folks understand why it's necessary to be alert. You understand where I'm coming from, y'all? Because even that good government job did not save them. All right, we left the South to come up here for some good government jobs, and guess what? That sucker did it again. He laid off a whole bunch of them. But that's the kind of stuff that we have to be alerted to. But I think Judith and the others have already said what really does need to happen. Our conversations have to be more than where are we going to go shopping, or what's happening to the next door neighbor about how good they look or how bad they look, all right? It has to be about how well are you doing? And when we sit down to talk, include some of the real talk. And talk to folks the way they talk. If they call it sugar, you call it sugar. You don't have to show out, okay? Because they understand you when you speak in plain old everyday English. We know you're smart. You don't have to show off all the time. Just make it plain. So that when you're trying to share some information, share the information. Don't try to just, and on there in particular. No, the heck with that. Talk to them the way that they understand, so that what happens after that is they can go and talk to other people. You understand what I'm trying to say? I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to give an idea of how we have to do stuff. That's all I got to say.
I love it. Well, with that, we want to thank our wonderful panel. And I'm going to thank myself. I had 7 panelists, and we did it. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. And thank you to Melanie Campbell, who was so brilliant in putting this together. There you are.
Oh, Lord. Woo.
So long me make me talk what I want to talk. Me have enough to say. So me go live my life today. Me go live my life today. So everybody help me sing it out. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today. Make a change, don't make nobody stress you. Don't make no blood pressure, make your life left you. Never you hurt a soul unless you have to defend yourself if them try to test you. Thank God for my life, yes. Me wake up this morning and alive, yes. Make them go and judge, nobody no perfect. And Father God alone bring brightness. If you don't like come and say, go find the Lord. Me now no time for the work, a time so hard. Them now mad me now gonna psycho ward. Or go join the morgue, enjoy my life for y'all. Few friends when me have were dear to me. Me not trust people, so me choose them carefully. Them are not clean, so them can't come near to me, can't compare to me. None of we don't know where tomorrow might bring, cause the future the hours away. So me I live my life today. Me I live my life today. Yeah, so long me make me talk what I want to talk. Me have enough to say. So me gonna live my life today. Me gonna live my life today. So everybody help me sing it out. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today. Sure. Never make nobody get the best of you. Look on the person of the mirror on the dresser too. Tell yourself say you're not gonna make them pressure you. And live life to the fullest that you better do. Just believe me know life not easy. Enough of we never born with gold spoon to feed with. No be greedy, set a pace in a life and achieve it. Listen to me keenly. Love me L-I-F-E until it left me. Me a go and keep
All right. How y'all doing? Hey, why don't y'all stand up and stretch? It's been a long morning. Just stand up and stretch. Wherever y'all. Give us some stretch music, DJ. Give us some stretch music.
So me I live my life today. Me I live my life today.
Couple minutes to stretch.
Yeah, so long me make me talk what I want to talk. Me have enough to say. So me gonna live my life today. Me gonna live my life today. So everybody help me sing it out. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today. Me love my life. Me love my life. Tomorrow might bring God the future, the hours away. So me I live my life today.
All right.
Me I live my life today.
You're bringing folks up with the pole.
Now at this time, let's please receive Miss Janet Mathis and the Hope and Justice Fellows.
Are they here? I can't see because of the light. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Miss Janice Mathis as she's coming, along with the Hope and Justice Fellows, to do our snap poll. Let's make some noise for them.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wasn't that an amazing panel that we just heard on healthcare? I had never thought about you can't separate public health from healthcare. And our systems now are sort of designed so that they are separated, and we have to be our own best advocates and say, we want to know what's going on in public health, and we want to know what's going on with our health care. You may be like me and can remember back when COVID first hit. At first, states were routinely publishing the data to say how black folk were faring with COVID, until it became apparent that we were dying at a much faster rate from COVID than other populations. And then states like the one that I'm from, like Georgia, stopped publishing the data. You could no longer find the information about the rates of death from COVID by race. So it made it more difficult for advocates to say, we need more attention to these issues. I don't want to bore you. We've got up here Paradisa Campbell, Alicia Robinson, and Madison Johnson. They are truly the experts. We found 12 brilliant undergraduate students and graduate students on the campus of Clark Atlanta University who expressed the desire to know more and do more to achieve true racial and social and economic justice. They work on projects. One group may be working on why did we not expand Medicaid? Another group working on why did so many black women lose their jobs at the beginning of this year in the federal government? Without research, we don't have the answers that we need to shape the public policies that we deserve. So my understanding, do we have results ready from the first poll? Okay, you can see the word cloud, and the larger the word is, the more often that answer was given to the question. You want to explain?
Go ahead.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. One of y'all.
I'm sorry, what did I miss? What did I miss? Where are we at? Oh, just some of the responses. Oh, thank you. I didn't realize that this was right here. So for the initial question that we asked after the last session, how are you united to win in 2026? So just a few of the responses. I'll go over the ones that are very bold, the larger font. Committed, active, organizing, vote, connected, advocating, activists, activate, awesome, volunteerism. All really good responses, which I think is very inclusive of the setting right now. So thank you all for that. Are we going to go over the second question as well? Here we are. Okay. How can Black people resist, save, and transform? What? Get in the field. Oh, get in the field. You cut me off, sorry. Transform, I was reading the question first. Transform our democracy for a betterment of all people. So these are a few of the responses that came through. Alicia, do you want to read off the responses? Yeah.
A couple more actually said, get in the field. We all need to do that. Also, vote and keep money in our communities, listening to each other and organizing, voting, carrying out our personal assignments by working within FIRST, and my favorite, to unite together. And then we'll go on to our next question, which is for the session we just went over now, which is how have the federal budget cuts to healthcare impacted your costs?
And Madison is going to read a few of those responses.
So we have increased it, raised my costs in a very negative way, agreed. Rise in medical costs from prescriptions to doctor visits, skyrocketed, prescription and copay increase, unexpected bills, premiums increased significantly.
Okay, so one of the reoccurring words that we heard is increase, right? So I think that we can all agree across the board that the increase is what's had the highest impact. Thank you all for sharing. No, there was two interactive questions. That was it. Yep, that's all of them. Here, I don't know what I do with mine. So you oh, there's no more questions? Is it live?
Y'all okay? No, stay right here. Everybody okay? When we get done with this, we're gonna have to take a 30-minute break. I know y'all like, what? We're gonna need to take a 30-minute break, but not just a break. They have to flip this room in preparation for our lunch, which means that, unfortunately, whatever you brought in, you need to take it with you, okay? So that they can do everything and flip this room. Say sponsors. Say increase. It costs to pay for this. So some of our sponsors will be here at lunchtime. So we're going to need to, and some are already here, but we're going to need to make sure that we set up those tables for those sponsors that'll be here at lunchtime So that's the other thing. So if you all would, when you leave, take that 30-minute break, which, who don't want a 30-minute break? Go spend money. We cut the ribbon this morning. For the next 2 days, we have our Black Women Entrepreneurs Marketplace. We have about 20 vendors here. Some of these sisters, this was their side hustle. But with the cuts in federal jobs, cuts in federal contracts, a lot of them from the DMV, especially in this area, that's their hustle now. That's how they're making a living now. And so we want you to dig deep as much as you can, because it costs. They say it costs. It costs to be the boss, and it costs to run our households. So we want you to spend some of that money that you have, and then we will start. What time? I can't see. What time are we coming back in the room? It's 12:11, so I'm saying 12:40.
That is correct, Ms. Melanie. We'll be coming back at 12:40, everyone.
12:40. Okay. Is that all right with everybody? And then I need some conveners to stay here. Let me go ahead and do that now. The conveners that I need to stay and meet us out in the hall is Sheila Tyson, Letitia Jackson, Katura. Y'all know who you are, so I can just call your first name. Robin, Sheila, Katura, Tamika, Stephanie, Letitia, and Cassandra. And if they're not here and you don't see them and you know they're not here, ask them to meet us out right outside the registration desk.
We back again. Hey. Y'all mind walking with us for a second? Talk to him.
Tell me what you see when I pass by. A shadow, a cloud,